If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, let me give you a rundown. Basically, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need, all in one place. Here's how it works. Anchor lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to the most popular listening platforms, including Spotify, with a single tap. Anchor is also the only place you can publish video podcasts to Spotify. With Anchor, creators can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. That's right, it won't cost you a dime. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You won't regret it. Welcome to Of Men, For Men. Here we'll discuss issues pertaining to the modern day man. Subjects like health, wealth, lifestyle, gear, and relationships. So join me as we dive into the world of men for men. Hello and welcome to the Of Men For Men podcast. I am your host, James Rodney Lee Max. Yeah, come on. Yeah. All right. Man, I hope everybody had a good 4th. I hope you got out there and spent a little time with your friends, your family. Hope you got to shoot off some fireworks. I'm praying that each and every one of you still have 10 fingers. I hope that was not the last weekend of you having all your fingers on your hand. Because, there are some people out there that are missing fingers today. And one or two missing a whole hand. I seen that myself. I didn't see it. I read it. Fella blew off his entire hand. They couldn't reattach it, so he's done. Game over for him. Sorry about your luck, Chuck. Man, you got to be careful with fireworks, man. I'm serious. I had a firecracker blow up in my hand. Thank God. It wasn't like I was holding it when it went off. I mean, I was in the process of releasing it, throwing it, right? I shouldn't have been lighting it in my hand anyway, But that's what we did as kids, I mean, that's how we weeded out the weak ones. That's how we culled the herd, so to speak. Right? It was survival of the fittest, So that's how we managed that. But man, I hope you got out there and was able to do something and enjoyed yourself and enjoyed your freedom. Celebrated your freedom. I know there's, a lot of people on TV, a lot of movie stars, a lot of talking heads, Hollywood types, all of them crying and pissing and whining and moaning on the 4th of July. People saying they gonna move and they renounce their citizenship and all this kind of bullshit. Who is that? What's his name? Billy Joe. Whatever it is, in that Green Day. He gonna renounce his citizenship. He gonna move to England. Well, he's fixing to learn a lesson. They don't have all the freedoms we have over here, right? He's fixing to learn some serious, because of he was doing it because of abortion. But he's fixing to learn some hard lessons. They don't have all that kind of free, and their abortion restrictions over there are much harsher than ours here. Right? Even after, Roe v. Wade has been overturned and, just sent back to the states so the people can vote on it. There's not a federal government and a court saying what you got to do.
They kicked it back to the states. Now we can vote on it as to how we want it to be. From state to state, because obviously every state's different. You go out to California, liberals. Go up to New York, liberals. Come down south, people more conservative. And you have to know that. When you decide to move somewhere and take a job and you go move, you better take all that into account, and not just, oh, hey, I'm gonna go out to California and have a great time. You better remember you fixing to move out there with a bunch of liberals. And I'm not bashing one side or the other. I'm just saying you got to take that into account, and vice versa. If a Californian wants to move out, down south somewhere, you better take into account. We got a different way of life, a different lifestyle down here, right? Don't move and think everybody's gonna be just like you, because they're not. They're not. It's not gonna happen. That's just the way it is. That's what makes America so great. But anyway, I got contacted by a health professional, and we exchanged a couple of emails, and he sent me some information, and I'm going to do a podcast based on that. I think I'm going to have to kind of cherry pick some of those highlight some of that information. Otherwise, that would be at least a 2 or a 3-part series. It's a lot of information, but I think it's pertinent, and I think it's important to you gentlemen, and I want to bring it to you, and it's coming from a professional, and and I want to present it to you, and you do with it what you want. I'm not going to tell you about it right now. I don't want to spoil the surprise, so to speak, but I think it's good information, and I think you ought to be aware of it. And again, it's up to you to decide, how you feel about it and what you want to do about it. If you want to apply it to your life or if not. But it's full of pertinent information, statistics and stuff like that, and it might surprise some of you. It might wake some of you up. Might make you think a little bit about what you're doing before you do it. So, with all that being said, let's get to today's topic. I just want to talk about friends. Your friends. What kind of qualifies a friend? They always say if you want a friend, you got to be a friend, right? Everybody's like, well, I ain't got no friends, or this, that, and that. Well, if you want a friend, be a friend. Be a friend to somebody, right? Make a friend, right? Make that person a friend. Be a friend to them. Step out. Reach out to them. Don't expect everybody to come running to you wanting to be your friend. Right? Most people think I'm some kind of asshole because of the way I carry myself. But that's because I'm not overly friendly. I like to get to know somebody. Before, I would consider them a friend, and I'd have to know them for, a while, before that would happen. Most people that I know, or most of them, are just acquaintances. They're not friends. I can probably count them on one hand, really, honestly, if I was truthful about it, how many people I would actually consider to be a friend of mine. Because they're few and far between. And most of them I have known the majority of my life, I've known them, not for years, but for decades at this point. Right? So, those are kind of things you want to think about, before you just call somebody, oh yeah, this is a friend of mine. No, that person might be just a casual acquaintance. I have a lot of those. Not that I'm not friendly with that person, but I wouldn't consider them a friend. To me, a friend is somebody you could call, in the middle of the night and tell them that you need them, and they would be there, right? Almost like family. And there's some family that wouldn't even do that for you, right? But to me, that's what a friend is. Somebody you call in the middle of the night and you need them, and they'd be there. No questions asked, right? No judgment, just, hey, I got you, right? Like I said, you can pick and choose. You can, what they say, you can choose. You can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. And that's true. You're born into a family. That's blood. That's what you got. That's what you're working with, right? But as far as your friends go, now that's a different story. You can choose your friends and who you call friends and who you associate with. Your friends, your family, you don't see. Your immediate family, you're going to see often, because that's your immediate family. Your distant family, your aunts and uncles and cousins and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to see them. You're not going to be intimate with them. But your immediate family, you're going to know them a little bit more. So, with your friends, those should be important to you. You shouldn't, not that you shouldn't have casual friends, but again, friends. A real friend, a close friend, a personal friend. And I guess we could break friends down into different types of friends, but I won't get into that today. Other than friends and acquaintances. We'll just keep it simple today. But to me, a friend is somebody that I can call and I need them and they're there. They are going to be there. And that's, sometimes that's even better than some of your family. And that's why they're important. You need to pick and choose who your friends are. Because they're going to be a reflection of who you are. Whether you like it or not. Or whether you care or not. Because a lot of people are going to look at that. Oh, he's, he hangs out with these people, or he's friends with these people. And most of the time I would say, don't worry about that. But I've also said, if you're, again, and if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I say that because you want to learn something. You want to be around people who are going to lift you up, who are going to educate you, who are going to elevate you, who are going to bring you along for the ride, so to speak. And the same should apply to friends. You don't want low class, no account, ne'er-do-well, no good for nothing, philandering friends. They're not going to do anything for you. Now, I'm not saying you should pick and choose your friends by what they can do for you. I'm not saying that. You don't want friends, that like you're using your friends, for benefits. That's a different story, with relationships, friends with benefits. Sometimes when you have, relationships like that's fine, with females or otherwise, however you float your boat there. But, you're not using your friends. It should be a mutual. It should be beneficial, right? Neither one should be using the other. You should be helping each other out, lifting each other up, bringing each other along, right? And that's, and if you find yourself in a screwed up place, in a bad situation, and your life ain't going the way you think it ought to go, why don't you take a look at your friends and see who your friends are? Because they have influence on you, whether you realize that or not. If you spend enough time around them, they're going to have an impact on your life. Some of them, you may get caught up into their drama or caught up into their misadventures, crimes even, because you're friends with them. If you're hanging out with those types of people. Next thing you know, you got the police at your door asking you a bunch of questions about so-and-so. Or even about where you was at and what you was doing. Right? Because you're an associate, right? Remember, guilty by association sometimes? That's what I'm saying. You can and will be judged, whether you like it or not, whether you care or not, by the friends you keep. My mom used to say all the time, you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. right? And that ain't far off, right? You start hanging around with the wrong kind of people, and you hear about these stories all the time. Oh, so-and-so started hanging around the wrong kind of people, and he just went downhill from there. Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to, bring across to the table, gentlemen. Think about, who you're spending your time with, right? Because that's what's important to you, where you spend your team, right? Your time, your energy, right? Your attention and your money. Where you take your team, and where you invest your team, that tells people what's important to you. And if you invest in a lot of time, energy, attention, and money into these people, then apparently they're important to you, and they will judge you based on that. Again, whether you like it or not, whether you care or not, because that's going to reflect on you, who you spend your time with. And my suggestion is, don't spend time around people like that. It's not beneficial to you. It's not. You're not going to gain anything from that. You're not going to gain any wisdom. You're not going to be uplifted from that. There's going to be. It's all, and a lot of times it's all going to be give and no take. You're going to be giving them all the time because they're the moochers, the leechers, the hangers-on. A lot of people like that. You constantly doing for them, and they're bringing nothing to the table, right? So you have to be careful about stuff like that. You have to be careful about who you're hanging around, who you're spending your time with. That's why I say you got to vet females. You got to vet your friends. Vet them. Find out who they are, where they come from, who their family is. Know these things. Because if you don't know nothing about them, they're not your friend. That's just an acquaintance. You just know their first name and not their last. That's just an acquaintance. That's just somebody you just met. That ain't a friend. And you shouldn't be spending no time with a person like that. 'Cause I'm telling you, you can get hung up. And people will hang you up and think nothing about it. You got to be careful nowadays, gentlemen. You got to be careful. And invest yourself, invest your time, your energy, your attention, your money wisely. You are a resource, and people will use you as a resource if you're not careful. Females and other people, friends, men and women. If you're not careful, they will see you. They will, pick you as a mark and use you as a resource. And the only time you see them is when they need something. Again, they're not bringing nothing to the table. You got to be careful, my friends. And I say friends, because we have a relationship over the internets. But I say that in a casual manner. But yeah, you got to be careful, gentlemen. You got to be aware of these things. And I'm not saying toss away. You've had relationships and you ought to just throw people away like trash. I'm not saying that. Sometimes it's just better just to distance yourself a little bit. You don't. That's all. You don't got to throw them away like trash. They're not. They're human beings. They're people too, regardless. Of whatever. They're people too. They have faults of their own. They're not perfect. And they, if they doing somebody wrong, somebody's probably done them wrong along the way sometime too, Nobody's perfect. And that's why I just, I want you to take that into consideration. When you're talking about friends and spending time with your friends, make sure you spend the time with the right ones. That's all. Or maybe you're friends with somebody because you're trying to lift them up, right? I'm not saying, you doing it to get something out of it. Sometimes you're just friends with somebody so you can help lift them up. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. If you have the means, the time and the means to do that, then man, more power to you. More power to you. I appreciate you for doing that. We need to do more of that for each other. Lift each other up. Associate with other men that see things the way that you see them. And it has that same world view. Not the new world order. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the world view as a man and how a man should be and what a man should do. Right? You know, don't just talk the talk, walk the talk, right? A lot of people talk all kind of shit. You know, some people are just shit talkers. But I'm talking about people that walk the walk. You know, that have no problem getting out there and doing what they say. That's the difference. All right, my friends, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. We got another one coming up on us real soon. There's just so much to cover. I wanted to put out another episode this week, but there's just so much going on, and I want to keep it, you know, kind of pertaining to men's stuff, and there's just so much going on in the world. It seems a little overwhelming because, I mean, that's important too. You know, but I don't want to, you know, barrage you with politics because you get that every day. You know, but I do want to bring it up from time to time when I think it's important, when I think it's pertinent. Because, you know, whether you like it or not, or whether you believe it or not, it affects you. All that stuff affects you. So take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. You know, call on your buddy, check on your buddy, lift each other up. You know, do something, you know, this weekend or this week for somebody that can't do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, an act of kindness, right? All right, my friends, I have been James Rodney Lemax, and you have been great. Yeah.
This will be a weekly podcast. You can find it on the Anchor app and anywhere podcasts are available. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you there.